regular candlesticks on the 5-minute time frame mostly. And the only thing I do change here is I do change this to 8 because this is based on the Chicago time zone. Why I choose 8? Because I do live in California. So 8:30 is basically the same as 9:30 a.m. EST. So in California, that would actually be 6:30 a.m. PST. So that's why I changed that. You can change the opening range 5, 15, 30, 1 hour. I choose 15 minutes. Trade direction, you can choose long or short. I do both. You can limit max trades per day. Stop loss method, let's just do that. You can customize 100 ticks for stop loss, 200 for profit, risk to reward, whichever one you want. Enable trailing stop loss. Trade only within session. You can change this to basically 8:30. I don't really leave this check. I leave this on check. And then if you look back, some of my members are actually using the opening range engine. I did use it in the past, but I stopped using it. I'm not really much of a fan of the opening range, but it does actually work. You can change your size to, let's say, 5 contracts. Right there, I do have this on check as well. Style tab, I like to make this green because once price breaks, it means a buy. Make this third level thickness. I like to change this because, obviously red means sell. Third level thickness. And then I like to remove these labels and panels as well. And so if you look, see price breaks and it took a winning trade. So you look at the strategy report. So it's actually not that good. So last 7 days was actually pretty good. So it won 3 out of 5 trades. Profit factor 3, over 1,000 P&L. Max drawdown over 705. Let's look at the last 30 days. So last 30 days it was pretty much average. Last 30 days took about 50% profitable trades. Profit factor 1.6. So P&L max drawdown was pretty much about the same. So that's one way you can change the opening range breakout. You can actually experiment with with different ticks. You can also do risk to reward for the stop loss method. You can change this if you want 50, 100. But always practice this on a demo account first. But some of my members aren't actually using the opening range break or opening range engine. They're having some success with it. But I personally don't actually trade this, but it's pretty profitable in long term now. So after that, so let's talk about the Flux engine, which is actually my next indicator. So with the Flux engine, I usually do M&Q 5 minutes. If you do the runtime profile, you can change this to M&Q 5-minute ETH. These are the presets. So once you do select this, anything you change after that, it does not actually take effect. It's basically useless unless if you do actually do manual customs. So these are the presets already. You can change to whatever contract size you want. Let's say you want to do 5 contracts. Make sure this is checked. I usually check all 3 and then just leave this unchecked. In this style tab, I like to remove these buy and sell labels since I already have these strategy labels on there. And then this, I usually keep this unchecked. Visibility, properties, and person. That's pretty much all I do with this one. And we go back last 7 days. Just FYI, when it comes to doing the strategy report, anything, the farther back you go, the less accurate it does actually become. So the closer you are to the date, the more accurate the report will actually show. So you can see last 7 days, got profit factor 1.48 with profitable trades 62%. with over $3,000 in P&L and 1.5K in drawdown. So I basically doubled my drawdown. So if you do last 30 days, so last 30 days it didn't really do too good, but with the Flux engine, I think 7 days is probably going to be more accurate compared to 30 days and 90 days. But you can see, I guess I forgot to remove some labels. So I'll remove this. So this is a strategy which you can actually automate as well. So like this would have been a winner. This is actually a loser. So this would be a winner, another winning trade. This is loser, 2 loser in a row, winner trade. So this was a winner, winner. So this night has won a lot of trades. So I counted 1, 2, that's 1 loss, 3, 4 winners and 1 loser. So if you look at the strategy board list of trades, you'll see, so it did actually pretty good. So Flux engine did actually pass an eval account and got me really good payouts. I think over $1,000 in payouts on one of my funded accounts. So Flux engine was actually, some of my members are using Flux engine, but I don't use Flux engine at the moment because, like I said, I'm only using Algo X with the Flux. But you can actually experiment with this. Basically, another way to do this is if you select basically manual customs, go to strategy report and just filter around with it. Popularity inversion just means basically whatever you select in the long validation stack, it will generate a buy signal. Okay, so when this is actually checked, it's going to do the opposite. So instead of buy, it's going to generate a sell signal. Okay. And then this points or ticks if you're trading futures. If you're trading Forex, you want to do pips. And then target delta is just another name for a take profit. Failure threshold is another name for stop loss. And then REM latency bars is just another name for cool down between signals. So once a buy signal prints, if you set this basically to a 2, it's going to wait basically 2 candles before it can actually give another signal. But I should keep this as a 0. Temporal gate is basically when you want it to trade and when you want the session to end. Blackout is basically the no trade zone. So meaning it will not trade between these hours. And then you can use trading windows if you want to trade within specific time. And you can also check this to close at the end of the New York session, or whichever you prefer. I usually trade all sessions. Active bias, this is kind of like a trend filter. I usually leave this by default. I usually leave this by default as well. And then you can start unchecking and checking each one to see if it gives a better P&L or better drawdown. So it looks like nothing changed there. So whatever you select will basically give you a long signal for the buys and for the sell. Whatever you select or deselect, it will give you basically a sell signals. You can actually play with it, see if you can get better stats on the strategy report. And with these numbers, I usually leave everything else by default, but you can always play with it and see whatever numbers or whatever signals may get better result in the strategy report. And then last is the Smart Money Concepts Toolkit. So this is pretty much self-explanatory if you know about money, smart money concepts. So obviously, if it gives you, for example, like a change of character, that means it's a potential for a reversal, which means we're probably heading into an upward trend. And then we had a break of structure, so it basically confirmed that the trend is bullish. So what happens? We continue going up, so you got to capitalize on all this movement. And at the same time, we are also above this smart line, and we're also, the trend ribbon is also green as well. And we also have a bullish order block. So you can always wait for the price to tap into this order block, which it did. And then you could have entered at this point, and you could have rode the trend all the way up to this point. And this trend dashboard is actually going to be in the new update. So I'll be releasing that update in the new, probably either tonight or this weekend. But not really much I do change with these smart money concepts. I usually just leave it by default, but that's just one way to actually trade it. So let's look at another example. So see the smart line and the trend ribbon, downward trend. So you would have capitalized on all this movement. And see the trend ribbon green, you would have capitalized on all this movement. And then back to red, capitalize, and then capitalize. So you can actually trade this manually if you actually want to. You can also automate it, but I don't really recommend automating this. I do recommend actually basically trading this manually. So you can customize this, experiment with it, whatever you want. I do have some members actually using this, and they have past eval accounts and also got really good payouts as well. So this is another really powerful tool that you can actually utilize for extra confluences. So it basically just marks everything on the chart for you. But other than that, that's all I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you find value in this video, just drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.